Hello again, my name is Rodney Reynolds and welcome to another video review. Today I'll be looking at a custom case for 3dgameman.com by Computers Divine. Let me just go over what is included in this particular package. First of all, the case is Antec 1030SX. These cases tend to be pretty heavy, over 30 pounds. You also have a power supply inside of this, Antec 300 watt power supply. Now, as you can see here, there's a two-tone color that you can have, and I've actually got that, meaning two different colors. The case window here on the outside, the rubber is actually painted, and also the front of it's painted, and the inside's painted that light blue color, and the outside is painted that dark blue. This color scheme can be anything you want. You might not like the look of this one. However, you can do whatever you want to do with regards to colors, up to 16.7 million colors. So you have a lot of choice. Also right here we have the fan grills are painted a different color, yellow. If you take another look on the other side of the case, you can see my logos right here. And also down here some other things. And on the other side of the case here, you can see again the logo and whatever else I specified to them. And also at the top here, we have that fan, and again that fan is painted yellow. So you could really do anything to your own specifications, tell them, and they'll go ahead and do that for you. Now, something else that's included inside of this is actually a fan bus as well as a bay bus. Now, the bay bus is right here on the front, which controls all of the fans. You have an on as well as an off. You also have the slow and the fast on that. It's great because it controls all the fans that are inside of this case. Also, the fans that are inside the case, there's actually two 120 millimeter Panaflow fans, one at the very top and one at the side in the window. We also have four 80 millimeter fans in the back of the case, as well as some in the front, intaking the air both in the back as well as in the front, as well as right here, jetting and porting all the air out the top of the case. Also right here we have a neon light which goes inside of the case. I'll show you all that when I get the system all hooked up. So you can see here a very cool looking case overall. Now, as you can imagine, a lot of work goes into putting a case like this together, both putting all the fans, all the grills, and doing the paint job. Now, let me just inform you how all of that is actually done. First of all, it goes directly into the machine shop, and they then cut the holes they need to cut, trim off any kind of sharp edges, etc. Then it goes into the paint department. It's sanded and painted at that point, and they actually use high professional sprayers for the coloring. And depending on which finish you decide on, whether it's textured like this one, kind of like an orange peel effect. If you don't like that, you can get just a fine or a very clear mirrored effect paint job. And again, that's something that you can specify to them. Then actually it goes from the drawing room back into the paint department for a poly coat to be applied. Then after that, it goes back into the dry room for 72 hours to cure. And finally, it goes back into the main shop to be assembled, tested, and the final inspections done. So as you can see here, a lot of time spent putting a case like this together. Now let me just go over some of the key features on the front, the side, and the back of this case. Right here in the front we have 1, 2, 3, 4 5¼ inch bays. You can see here there's the bay bus that controls actually all the fans inside of the case. Right here we have two 3½ inch. We have a power button right here, also a reset button right here. We have the hard drive LEDs as well as the power LED right here. And this is a little gate which you can open or close, and you have a key lock here as well. On the side of the case here, we have that window mod, and as you can see here, this is actually rubber, and this is painted. Now, the problem with painting rubber is that when you actually twist it, it's going to crack. It is very, very difficult, if at all possible, to really paint rubber and not have this happen. This is actually something new that they've tried, and I think they probably should stay away from this because, again, painting rubber is not easy. As you can see here, right here, you paint the outside. There's a little bit of the black, which is the rubber. Rubber is black behind it. So you really have to almost paint this once it's actually assembled on the case, and that will be, quite frankly, extremely difficult to do. Also right here we have that 120 millimeter fan which takes in air. Also in this case you have those feet, and you can see here that these feet are actually painted the yellow color, which I specified. I'll just go down here so you can see the feet on this case. You can see here there's two on that side, of course, and two on the other side. This is for really stability on the case. And right here we have this classic handle, which some people hate and some people love. I tend to love this. This is fantastic. Just simply push it this way, and you can go ahead and open the case up once you have, of course, the thumb screws off in the back. Now going on to the back of the case here, the power supply here is at the top. This is again the Antec 300 watt power supply. The two fans pushing in air inside of the case, as well as right here is where your motherboard, things like your USB ports and so on and so forth, would protrude through once the motherboard is installed. Right here we have things like your video card, your sound cards, and so on and so forth. That protrudes through there once the motherboard is installed. Now right here we have a little switch. This controls actually the neon light. I'll show you how that works a little later on. And something else in this case, thumb screws. Very important because it makes it very easy to remove the side panels on the case. Now as I mentioned, the side panels are very, very easy to remove. They kind of just swing out. Again, the way that you unlock this is you just push it this way, and then you just pull it all the way out. It's kind of hinged, and after that you just take it and remove it completely. The other side does not have a handle, of course. You just manually take it off, and it swings out the very same way. Inside the case you can see I've gone with this lighter blue color. This should really look great once the neon is inside because it's a lighter color. Would not recommend having a really dark color inside the case if you're doing neon because it's not going to show up that well. Now something else inside the case here, I mentioned that you have the 4 external 5 1/4. Well, you also have a couple removable bays here. Very easy to remove these, just a couple handles. Once you come all the way out, you can install things like your hard drives and so on and so forth in these. You can see in these is actually where the fans are. These intake air again into the case and can be controlled from the front. Also something else that they have done, you don't have to worry about it, they've actually connected all of the fans up to this fan bus, and then it goes back to the bay bus, so you don't actually have to wire all this. This is actually already wired for you, which is fantastic because nothing to do there. Just put the wires really where you want and go from there. Now with regards to this fan bus here, what happens is the leads go to the fans and they go plugged into this unit right here. And it's double-sided Velcro, and you can stick this really anywhere that you want to put this inside of your case to really keep it out of the way. Then this, of course, goes plugged into the power supply directly to feed power to your fans. Now, as I mentioned before, there is a neon light that comes with this kit, and you can install either a two-sided sticky tape on it, or you can actually install the screws. There's places to mount this with screws if you want to do that as well. And all you do once that's done, of course, is place this wherever you want to place it. I'm just going to place it here on the bottom of the case. Then I'll turn it on, and you can see what it looks like. Now, as you can see here as well, that, of course, a motherboard inside this is very easily installed. Lots and lots of room inside of here. Also on this side right here, these fans actually very easily slip out, as you can see. You can easily remove these if you wish. Also with this, it does not come with a removable motherboard tray inside, unfortunately. You have to really do what you have to do, bringing the case around. And again, this case is quite heavy. So certainly this case, I think, really should have come with a removable motherboard tray. However, there is lots of room to work inside this, since it is a reasonable size case. You can really see now, once the neon light is installed, this window kit, the whole thing looks very cool looking. And this neon light actually comes with a couple of options. You can either have it on all the time, or you can set it to a pulse by music. So what that setting does is it basically pulsates to sound, and there's actually a sensor. You can increase the sensitivity or decrease it. I bet you're thinking this case has to be super duper loud because there's 4 80mm fans in here, and there's 2 huge 120 millimeters. Well, let me go ahead and turn them on to slow mode. And as you can hear, they are extremely quiet. Let me go ahead now and increase them to full power, full spin.